Maybe you have heard that there is a terrible legend circulating in the European and American world recently. In some photos, innocent children smile at the camera, unaware that there is an unkind, tall, and thin figure behind them. That's Slender Man. Maybe you have heard that there is a terrible legend circulating in the European and American world recently. In some photos, innocent children smile at the camera, unaware that there is an unkind, tall, and thin figure behind them. That's Slender Man, whose arms and legs are so slender that you can't even see him at such speed, and who specializes in attacking children. If you are unfortunate enough to see him, then we may just say goodbye. Today we will talk about this scary urban legend. It is said that he looks like a man wearing a suit and tie. The difference is that he has almost no hair, no facial features, and his hands and feet are extremely slender, like bamboo poles. Some people say that his limbs can stretch freely, and even when he hunts, several tentacles will extend from his back. At the same time, you can change your body shape at will. It seems to be trying to hide itself, only appearing in foggy streets or forests. It is easier for children to bump into him, but that is not a good thing. There are many witnesses who have suffered great pain in their lives after witnessing Slender Man. Some people even disappeared. The Slender Man usually appears in the forest, and his slender limbs look like tree branches. The Slender Man may also appear in ruins, with his black suit blending into the shadows of the haunted house. Although his traces are difficult to detect, if he comes close to you, you will get slender sickness, paranoid hallucinations will appear in your mind, and blood will flow from your nostrils. That's when you know the Slender Man is looking for you. When Slender Man starts to lock on you, there will be some signs, such as insomnia, becoming suspicious, coughing with blood, etc. By the way, a kind reminder, if you have the above symptoms and cannot sleep at night, remember to close the curtains in the room, because there are people watching you outside the window. During World War II and the subsequent Cold War, our Mr. Slender Man occasionally appear in Germany, and some Allied soldiers or East and West German soldiers just disappear into the vast sea of trees. At the same time, many skiers or children disappeared in the United States and Canada. No one knows why Slender Man appears, but a few things are clear. First, Slender Man will target someone for unknown reasons. That person may be a child or an adult. Then he will contact the victim. If the other party is a child, then Slender Man will pretend to be a friendly person. Once the other party is an adult, then the victim may suffer great pain in life, and sometimes the pain is brought by Slender Man. In addition, if you are targeted as an adult, congratulations, the Slender Man will pester you for a long time, ranging from a few days to a few years, and at the same time appear slender sickness, which is a strong paranoia. Frequent nosebleeds, nightmares, hallucinations, etc. Of course, that's assuming you're still alive. In the initial case of Slender Man, the circumstances of the victim's death were bizarre. The deceased would be tied to a very tall tree, and the cause of death was excessive blood loss. However, what is horrifying is that their organs seem to have been taken out, each put into a plastic bag of suitable size, and then stuffed back into the body. The expression of the deceased showed no resistance at all, as if he had been killed in his sleep. As time passed, this method of killing seemed to deactivate, replaced by outright disappearances. This approach is controversial because disappearance does not directly represent death. However, this also means that those who knew that Slender Man did appear also disappeared into the thick fog with Slender Man. According to the statements of some survivors, or based on some records, we can discover the hunting method of Slender Man. Slender Man will frequently appear in front of the victim, of course, Other people cannot see it appear at home, on the road, in the office, at school, or even in dreams. People speculate that these people have been mentally affected by Slender Man's control. As mentioned before, this phenomenon will last for days, months, or even years until he gives up hunting or until he is full. Some people have tried to conduct in-depth research on Slender Man, but they all gave up only halfway through the research. You can't study creatures like Slender Man, otherwise something bad will happen. One of them said. So, if one day you are in a foggy forest and see some moving tree trunks, you may be seeing Slender Man. The terrifying legend of the Slender Man, as the discussion thread becomes more and more heated, netizens continue to provide new materials, making the story more specific and terrifying. It seems that with the development of human history, there seems to be a wisdom. Monsters lurk around us, hiding in the dark forests, ready to attack children, leaving unexplainable bloody traces. Because he is good at hiding his whereabouts and eliminating witnesses, humans still cannot reveal the true face of the Slender Man. Is this true? If you are smart, you may have discovered it a long time ago. Yes, this is just the result of heated discussions among netizens on the website. It is not because they really discovered any mysterious history, but because they used their own creativity and followed Victor's footsteps and participated in one of the most interesting collective creative conferences in modern history. However, Slender Man was originally just one of the subcultural works of the internet community, but suddenly it was widely reported by various mainstream media in the United States in 2014. Why? What happened at this time? We discovered that the original boundary between reality and reality was not so unbreakable, and the real world was not safe at all. Slender Man, this terrifying monster's claws, actually broke through the dimensional wall and reached into reality, causing a murder that shocked the United States. In 2014, three 12-year-old girls lived in Waukesha, Wisconsin. They were Morgan, Anissa and Peyton. The three girls are good friends and often hold pajama parties just like the girls in American TV series. They talk about topics that 12-year-old girls are interested in, such as clothes, school, boys, and horror stories. Most kids have seen scary stories before and thought it was no big deal. As they grow older, some people no longer fear the dark, but instead crave the excitement of horror movies. These are all normal, as long as children don't take them seriously and don't indulge in them. But the problem is that Morgan and Anissa regarded the Slender Man as a real existence, and even began to hear the Slender Man's instructions to them. When interviewed by the police, Morgan said that she was ordered by a Slender Man to kill her friends to save her family. How could Slender Man, a fictional character, possibly speak to Morgan and Anissa? But the two of them believed that the Slender Man was not only ordering them and threatening them, but also intended to make them his agents. Morgan and Anissa weren't just frightened by the ghost stories they read online. They believed the monsters in the stories were real and gave them orders. Whether out of fear or excitement, they are eager to respond to the Slender Man in their mind, willing to do what he says in order to please him. And that means killing a friend. That good friend is Peyton beside them. Morgan and Anissa begin to plan their evil plan, preparing to send their ignorant best friend to the altar of Slender Man. Their plan was detailed, including how to kill people, how to tape Peyton's mouth shut to stop her from speaking, and then they fled. They prepared knives in their bags and planned to attack on May 30, 2014. However, they later did not carry out the attack that day because they were too tired. "Let her live one more day," Morgan said. Poor Peyton, a 12-year-old girl, suffered so many fatal stab wounds that she was left alone in the forest. However, fate looked after her and she worked hard to survive. Pedden struggled to climb to a nearby section of road and met a passing cyclist. The rider called 911 and sent Pedden to the hospital in danger. As a result, she survived, and this horrific tragedy was prevented from becoming a homicide, but just a stabbing case. Not long after the case occurred, the police found the perpetrators, Morgan and Anissa, who claimed that they were going to live with Slender Man. Two 12-year-old girls, immersed in their own fantasy world, do not know their fate, and will not have any interaction with the fictional Slender Man. They can only be prosecuted and tried as adults. After that, they have to spend a long time in prison. Spent in a judicial mental hospital. Morgan was sentenced to 40 years and Anissa was sentenced to 25 years. This is all very uncomfortable for the author of Slender Man and the online community. Most of the authors, especially the original author Victor, are very able to distinguish the difference between reality and fiction. No matter how they predicted it, they would never have expected that two little girls would actually want to kill someone after reading the story. In fact, most of Slender Man's creations do not mention that Slender Man would look for an agent, let alone live with a little girl who completed the murderous sacrifice ritual. Obviously, Morgan and Anissa's murder plan is not directly related to the story of Slender Man, and the responsibility lies with their own mental conditions. Speaking of which, Morgan and Anissa not only harmed Pedden's body and almost took her life, they also harmed all Slender Man fans, and even all horror story creators and fans. Their fantasies turned Slender Man, an excellent work that contains unique creativity, American culture, and collective creative spirit, into a real monster that invades reality.